interested in. So our presenter today is Michelle Zelina Stice. She is a professional photographer here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I am going to go ahead and let her introduce herself, and then we're going to start right into her presentation.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Zelina Stice with Zelina Photography. We're also the owners of The Studio by Zelina Photography, which is a studio location in South Knoxville. Today we are going to be presenting on the Snapshot to Success, how you can use your image to strengthen your brand and also your bank account. So let me get to my first slide here. This is telling you a little bit about me. I'm Michelle Zelina Stice. I'm originally from California. I grew up in Northern California, then lived in Southern California for a very long time. I was a theater major, and that's how I ended up in Tennessee. I was booked to sing and dance in a show in Pigeon Forge, which I had never heard of until I got that job. I moved for a 10-month contract and instead met my husband in the show, and I've now lived here 10 years. So I am now becoming a Tennessee native here, and as you can see in our picture, we have a daughter. She is almost 4. She is a micro preemie. For anyone who knows what that is, she was born at only 1 pound at 24 weeks. So she's our little miracle. She's now doing amazing. And she's actually the motivation for how this business took off. Like I said, as I was a theater major, however, I was always doing artistic things, doing photography. My dad, who we own the biz together, Bill, he was taking photos of my sister and I at a young age, us doing theater, cheerleading, we were modeling, all these things. I was taking camera, always had a camera with me, taking photography classes, and just loved it, but it was a hobby. And then after I had my daughter, working full-time on a set schedule didn't work for me anymore, and all the doctor's appointments she had, so I needed something that I could do and set a schedule to where I could be home when my husband was at work. So we said, you know what? We both love photography. We both have been in business forever. What if we make it a business? And we did. It's been a little over 3 years now, and it's been going really well. And so that's been awesome for us. And we hope we get to work with you at some point. So that's a little bit about us. The next one is branding and why. So people hear that brand all the time, and it can be things like you just think of brand in the name. For a lot of people, especially small business owners, your branding's a little different. You know, if you think of Nike and, like someone was saying earlier today, Coca-Cola, most of us have no clue who the owner of that brand is, who works there. You might know some of the people in their commercials, like the athletes or the movie stars they put in them, but you don't know the person behind those brands. However, as a small business, part of your brand is you and putting yourself out there. So it can help with your visibility and loyalty to your business, as we have, wrong one. I was going to look back and reference it, and it wasn't on my screen. We're all good there. So I have here is that we also have building trust. You can see a brand and be like, I know I can trust them. Or you can see a brand and go, ooh, don't work with that company. So that's one thing too as well. We have emotional connection. There's some brands that you're like, I just feel like I want to buy that product for whatever reason. It could also be the commercial just warms you. Every time that Folgers coffee commercial gets me, it's like the daughters come home from college, and in the morning the dad's like trying to talk to her, and then I'm just crying, and it's just a coffee commercial. Another one is differentiation. How do you set yourself apart? And some of your brands are the same. Some of you work for companies such as, a State Farm or an Edward Jones, where it's the same company and brand within it, but how do you then say, I'm a different than the guy next to me down the street selling the exact same thing? So that's where your brand expands from just the logo brand. Another one is customer loyalty. There's people too that it's like, there's certain brands I love, and when they release a new product, I want to support them. Sometimes it's just because I love their product. Sometimes it's their story. One of the t-shirt brands I really love is called Unplugged. And the reason I even found it is they had lost a child to CHD, congenital heart defect. Their child was born with it and had a lot of complications and eventually passed from it. And so they actually donate a portion of all of their t-shirt sales to the Heart Warriors and to raising money to help with families and stuff that have congenital heart defects. My daughter, because she was a preemie, has had 2 open heart surgeries. So it's one of those, it means a lot to me, but they also happen to sell photos that have cameras on them. So it went hand in hand. Oh, perfect. Adaptability. That's another one. Sometimes your logo has to change. Sometimes your business has to change. And by sometimes, I always say always, because times are changing. AI is changing. Things are. Your logo doesn't necessarily have to change, but you have to, sometimes you're like, you know what, this doesn't work anymore. Like football teams, you might say, well, I don't know why it had to not be the, Redskins anymore. And now they're, what is it, the Commanders? Those are one of those things, whether you agree with it or not, times change, they had to change their branding. So those are things to think of as well. The other one is enhanced value. Have you ever seen a logo or even someone's photo that just makes you go, ooh? Sometimes I see a billboard and I'm like, that is such a horrible photo on that billboard, but they're fully promoting themselves and their business, but in the wrong way. So those are some things to think of, branding and why and what it can help us with. The power of professional headshots. So here is some beautiful examples of some of the headshots that we have. It's changing in a second. I'm talking faster than Rita can move her fingers. So we have the power of professional headshot. The first part of that is professionalism. Having a high quality, high resolution photo that you can put on your website, your social media, your business cards. It can help people trust you, but also feel like, oh, this person's invested in themselves and their business. It also can show your personality. Not all headshots have to be the same. They don't all have to be in front of the white background. Everyone's standing like this, suit and tie. If that doesn't fit your business, don't have a photo like that. You can have a branding or a headshot that is still professional, but fits you in your profession and can help attract your ideal client. And in doing that too, I always tell people, please, if you can, put your photo on your business card. I can promise you they'll remember you a lot more, because they'll be like, oh, I remember your face. If they look at the card and the name, sometimes they're like, I met 10 people from that same business. I don't remember who it was and which one to reach out to. So as I show here, this is my dad, Bill. We were actually prepping a photo shoot for a 5-year-old little girl who was going to be recreating a photo her mom took at JCPenney when she was 5. And it involved her having flowers, an old-fashioned 90s hat, and pearls. While we were setting the lighting, I made him get in front of the backdrop so I could set it. And it's one of my favorite photos of him. And I put it out everywhere. And it shows a little bit of quirkiness, things like that. We're studio and owners, photographers, so it works for us. Tim here, he's a contractor. So even though he wanted a really nice buttoned up type photo, we did it outside. So it kind of still has some of those earth roots with it. And then so we have also the backdrops. So I love a white backdrop photo, but not everyone needs one. All right, your website as a brand hub. So a big thing is people, when they think of their branding and stuff, they think of their logo, they think of their colors. That's all great. I think that's very important. The second portion of that, though, are your photos. So many people are using stock photos. Don't get me wrong, in a pinch, I love a stock photo. I'll use a stock photo if I need it for certain things. However, if I am able to have my own photos, it's so much better. First off, Google and all the SEO and stuff like that love when you have your own photos on there. They know. But also it's another way for my clients to get to know me. They feel like they know who they're working with. So it's another brand identity. This girl here, she's actually huge on TikTok. She had a t-shirt sale. She makes t-shirts and stuff. This t-shirt alone, she sold over 50,000 of those t-shirts. and she continually sells them. She's huge on TikTok. She's local to the area. She happened to find me, like my work, when we came out and she's like, I've never done a photo shoot, but I need photos. I'm presenting them where I want some branding. So we created these different things. This was in her downstairs. I brought the brick wall. That doesn't exist. I brought that as a backdrop. We used her press. And like I said, now she has these amazing photos that she can use for her own site. We had different ideas together and collabed. But if she just had the t-shirt with some other girl holding it, again, she's on TikTok. She's the face of her brand and company. And a lot of people shop not just for the shirt because they like it, but they like to follow her. And that's important as well. Consistency. So it's one of those things too. A lot of people will at some point get a headshot. That's great. I love it. We should all have it. But then for all their other photos, they go, here's my cell phone, and they've all turned away from the light to take the photo anyway. So it's a grainy, bad photo, and that's all they're putting out there. Sometimes even on their professional website, they're not even using professional photos. A lot of times that can also, when people visit your website, it can be a turnoff. They can be like, ooh, is this person a scam? Is it things like that? Because they don't know. You could have AI create a website with no real photos, and they don't know if that's a real person they're shopping with. So having real photos, your real identity can really help. Engagement, another thing too as well is updating them. A lot of people again they do that initial investment in their business to where they will get some branding photos, which I love. But then it'll be 5 years and they never did anything ever again. Nowadays, everyone is all about that 10-second scroll. So they want that constant content. So being able to provide it to them and it feature your business, things like that does go a long way in getting people to want to continually shop with you. All right. Social media, I know some people love it. I love social media. And then there's other people like my dad who hate it, don't want to be on it. He's finally back on Facebook after like a 10-year break. And I tell people you don't have to like it, but you have to use it. It is one of those things where a lot of people go, oh, it's just for young people. Well, I hate to break it to you. That's not true. But also a lot of your target demographic shoppers are in an age group now where they are shopping. A lot of people think millennials are young. I'm a millennial. I'm going to be 38 this year. So I'm a homeowner, I'm a parent, and I'm almost 40. So even though the millennial thinks young, we're not the young generation anymore. We're actually getting towards those middle age. So you have to pivot into the idea of thinking like, well, it's a bunch of like college kids on social media. That's not the case anymore. And a lot of it also provides free marketing for you. There's things you could be doing, does it help to pay extra to engage and boost? Yes, but you don't have to. So you're actually losing out on free marketing if you don't take advantage of your social media. So it's, with a dynamic presentation, it allows you to do some fun things. There's some people I follow on social media, like I follow a bunch of chiropractors because I love the videos of them cracking people's backs, and they put the microphones on them and they do them, and I sit there for hours watching, and I'm like, I don't even look close to them, and I want to go there and get it. It's like it puts in your head. Another one is there's like this dentist office, and the dentist guys are like a little bit older, but they're actually really good dancers, and so their admin has got them doing these TikTok dances, and you might be like, that's nothing. You don't have to do that. I'm saying is you find your niche and put stuff out there, but they are fun ways that you are marketing and bringing in customers. Content variety, you're able to do images, videos, you can do graphics, you can do events and invite people to them. These are different ways, again, to get people to engage, the newspaper, yellow pages, things like that. They're still around, but they're not as prevalent. People are actually shopping from social media. I buy half my stuff from TikTok, from Instagram, from things like that. And I see a ton of people in groups, local groups, asking, how can I find a plumber? Hey, I need a mortgage. I need a lawyer. And they're asking on social media. So again, you want to have a page where people can tag you in that, and having your photos look nice in your Instagram, your Facebooks, things like that does go a long way. Consistency and cohesion. this is one of those things I always say is each business has their own voice. Each brand has their own voice. Not every trend is for you. I always tell people, like, just because a song is trending doesn't mean you have to use it. I saw someone's page once where they used a trending song, but then they put it with like a kid, and the song was wildly inappropriate to have a kid in it. And I was like, no, what are you doing? So yes, you can do it the wrong way. But if you're like, this trending audio actually works amazing for my business, then yes, use those things. And also, not everything's for you. So it's like, find what works for your brand and don't use the stuff that doesn't. All right, integrate all elements. So all elements should work together to tell your brand story. There are some people who have an amazing social media presence but have no website. I'll tell you that is for someone, for me, if they only have Instagram or Facebook and no website, I think twice about whether I want to hire them. Sometimes it makes me nervous, like, ooh, are they legit? Are they actually professional if they don't have a website? And then the other way too, if they don't have social media, there are times where it's like, oh, I want to engage with them that way. So those can go hand in hand. But also you want it to look the same in a sense of, if your website looks fully one way, but then your Instagram's completely different, they're going to have some differences. But if you want it to at least people know you're the same business, you're the same, so that they can actually look at it visually. And you want the professionalism between all of them. Adaptability, I've said this, which is, adapting to the times. If there's a new website or different things like that, is sometimes it's like, oh man, I just learned how to use LinkedIn. Now everyone's on this. Now everyone's on Alignable. Now everyone's on these. It's one of those where it can be annoying. However, don't get left behind just because you don't want to learn something new. Either learn it or hire someone who knows how to do it. Those are your two options. It's like, because otherwise you just get left in the dust. All right, regular updates. So I don't know how many of you paid attention to the beginning of my presentation, but you saw I had a really pretty picture holding a camera. My hair was all long and flowing. Well, 3 days ago, I cut all my hair off. So guess what? I've already thrown up on my social media that I have short hair now. And I'll be taking new photos with my dad so I can update my business card, because I don't look like the girl with long hair anymore. When I show up, they're gonna be like, oh, you cut your hair, which is great. That's not a huge change to an extent. There are some people where you've given me your business card and I'm like, who's this person? It doesn't, and they're like, oh, I used to have this color hair. I never would have known it was you. Don't be the person, because they're not going to recognize you. So regular update, if you grow a beard, you got one of those COVID beards going on, you never got rid of it, you have to get a new headshot. Who you were before, no one knows. So those are the things, but also people want to see new content. Some of the biggest engagements I get on my website or my Instagram things are new posts saying, hey, by the way, look at our new thing, or we're going out. And those people want to engage. They engage sometimes more with the photos of me and my family than they'll do with, like, I have a sale happening, because people want that genuine side of you. Okay, here's me eating cake at a wedding. And then I also, like, so here's me performing. This is an old headshot. Again, I'll be updating because my hair is different now. So the big thing is your brand, your presentation, and your headshots, website, all of that go together to help people want to shop with you. Typically, my question and answer, we talk a lot about how can I set myself aside? I had mentioned earlier that there are a lot of people, actually just in our networking groups, I can tell you at least 10 people, if not more, who work for Edward Jones. And I've met different ones. I just throw that name out because, again, it's one that you meet a lot of them. So here's the thing is, how do you determine which one to use? Sometimes it's like, well, this one I've known the longest, or they're a friend of mine. it was referred, things like that. That's great. Sometimes you've never met, you could be in a room that has 3 different people. So then it's one of those, okay, what sets me apart? That's why I tell people is your photos can really set you apart. They can make people feel like they know you. And it's like that line between a professional and also feeling like you get to know that person. We have some of the same maybe values, things like that, to where you feel like, okay, I want to shop with them. The other part of it too is I tell people is just know that a lot of your customers could be visiting your website or your social, or maybe your non-existent social media, and determining not even to move forward to contact you based on the photos that you're putting out there, or the content, or even just your website layout. I mean, if it's really hard, sometimes I'll visit someone's site and I'm like, I just want to contact them. I just want a number, and it's like nothing. It's like I have to fill out forms, and I'm like, okay, but I want to be able to just send you an email. So you're already, and then I just go next, and I look for the next person. So these are things to think of. Are you already closing some doors that you don't even know you're closing because they never contacted you? So those are some things to think of, and just know that not everyone will not shop with you. They're not going to say, well, bad photo, I'm not going with them. But you could be hurting yourself and leaving that money on the table. Yes.
So the reason I came here today is because I wanted to hear about the bank account.
Yeah.
And you did mention some things, but let's just drive that home.
Yeah.
How does my image really help my bank account strengthen that?
Yeah. So a big portion of it is also, it's a professional thing. So if someone, if you present yourself a certain way and you say, hey, here's some information about me, here's these things, and by the way, so it's $3,000. You can go, okay, and then I get a bid from someone else, and they could be exactly the same. I'm more likely to go with the person that has better work, and it might not even be the actual thing. It could be, so I'm not going to go visit. So let's say you're a landscaper. I'm not going to go visit the homes that you did landscaping on. I'm going to rely on the photos that someone took of the landscaping and show it. And if it's just like some grainy thing, I'll be like, it doesn't show your work. It's not actually promoting you the way you want. So I'm going to be like, well, look at this one. Look at how much better this one. It's colorful. It's popping. They've done that. Exactly. And so those are where you can be, like I said, hurting yourself in that portion. The other part too is, say you're a makeup artist. Again, some of them have the ring lights and are taking some great photos, but then other ones, it's like, ooh, you needed some better lighting. They're not actually showcasing the work. I'll also say, again, back to your headshot stuff, I've gone to like a bank, and on the window, they'll have like, this is the manager of the bank, and they put their photo. And sometimes it's on a billboard. And I've seen the person in real life, and I know it's a bad photo of them. And I'm like, everyone's now seeing that. And instead of me just thinking about the business, I'm now sitting there going, I got that photo. And so those are things you don't want people to think about, that you want them to think.
Doesn't that say, if this person who owns this business, if they feel like this is good enough,
right,
or I am not particular and meticulous enough to keep my image up, then how are they going to treat me and my business or my whatever it is I'm buying from them? That's a direct correlation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Those are those things of, it's the same thing with like luxury brands too. The luxury brand does not cost the $30,000 for that purse that you paid. It maybe cost them $1,000 to make it, probably less. However, they've then invested in some really nice photos, things that make you go, I have to have it. It draws you in. And that's the thing, is where use something as simple as a photo to do that. And also, like I said, create your own stock images. Those are things, like I said, that mention your SEO, all of the whatever it is. If you use your own photos, because you can actually brand your name into them and different things like that, it helps with the search. And so when people are searching that, it can actually tag from your photo and bring that all in. Where if it's a stock image, it knows that you use a stock image and it wants to show less of those.
So I think you just hit on something really important.
Mm-hmm.
You do my branding pictures.
Yes.
And when you give them to me, did you already optimize them so that I won't have to know how to do that?
Yeah.
Behind
So
the scenes?
I always put my photography business, and then after it has the name. So it has Rita's business name, and then it puts workshop or branding after. So again, it has a tag name in there, has the metadata with the locations and things like that. So those are things that you can also ask, I want to specifically say this, and we can do those as well. So those are some big things. And like I said, mentioned back to the bank account. Everything is about how do I get this client, how do I get them to pay me, and how I get them to pay me more than just maybe that starting thing, and looking professional and having those high quality, like I said, photos and different things. It makes people trust you more and want to spend more money with you. So we have a worksheet here. I'll leave you with some questions to think of. So think of things of what does your current online image say about you and your business? So think about your website, your social media, and profile pictures. What message are you putting out there? The other one is, do your current photos match the energy, professionalism, and style of the brand you want to be known for? It's never too late to pivot. You can always change things like that. So make sure it matches what you are wanting. What 3 words do you want people to think of when they see your brand imagery? So those are some things, most people aren't thinking about these. They're just like, photo's good enough. Trust me, your customer and client are looking at that in a different way because they might not know why they're looking that way or thinking that, but it's just our brains automatically fill in things. When was the last time you updated your headshot or brand photography? For most people, I know it's too long ago. What's one action or step you will take in the next 30 days to strengthen your visual brand? And then how do you currently use your images to build trust and connection with potential clients or collaborators? So these are some really good things to think of. The other thing we have here is we're having a special. I don't know why the L has moved on my special, but it's a special with an L down. So we have a free consultation, which is basically we have people who show us their Instagram, their websites, their headshots, and we do a consultation with them and give them honest feedback on ease of use, what they're projecting, things like that. They're getting another set of eyes on some of that branding because they might look and be like, I don't even know what to start, something feels wrong, things like that. So we are offering a free consultation with that. We're also offering $50 off a headshot session or $100 off a headshot and branding session. So that's great. You can get some headshots, some group photos. We also take photos like for some people who do work in a restaurant, maybe we're getting some photos of them handing, the bottle of wine, a menu out to someone, bringing out the plate, because those photos also are important. And that is our contact information. We appreciate if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section and we'll be sure to reply and get them to you. Perfect. Thank you.